Osaka Castle, 1598. 3,000 spectators packed into the arena for the annual tournament before the emperor. The air thick with anticipation. And there, stepping onto the sacred ground, was Ryota, 22 years old, the absolute pride of his dojo, undefeated in 17 consecutive duels. His reputation preceded him like thunder before lightning. His opponent? A nobody. A wandering ronin from the mountains. No formal training, no reputation, no credentials worth mentioning. The crowd whispered. This would be a massacre. They were right, just not in the way they expected. The duel lasted exactly 8 seconds, but Ryota didn't lose because his opponent was better. He lost because in that moment, when everything was on the line, Ryota discovered something absolutely terrifying. He had no idea who he was. His mind went blank. His body froze. The Ronin's wooden sword cracked across his face once, twice, 3 times before Ryota even raised his weapon. The crowd fell silent. Then came the laughter, then the whispers, then the shame that would haunt him for 3 years. Core thesis: Miyamoto Musashi, perhaps the greatest samurai who ever lived, wrote something that most people completely misunderstand. You can only fight the way you practice. Most people think this is about sword fighting. It's not. Here's what nobody tells you. You can only live the way you practice. Your daily habits, your moment-to-moment choices, your private disciplines when nobody's watching, that's not preparation for life. That is your life. And when you lose your practice, when you abandon your discipline, when you forget your purpose, you don't just fail at your craft. You fail at being yourself. This is the story of a warrior who lost everything, not to injury, not to a superior opponent, but to something far more devastating. He lost himself. And the journey back from that darkness, that's the real warrior path that nobody talks about, but everybody eventually walks. The question isn't whether you'll fall, it's whether you'll find your way back when you do. Chapter 1. The Shattering. The aftermath. 3 days after the duel, Ryota sat alone in his family's estate, staring at the sword he could no longer bear to touch. 22 years of training, 17 consecutive victories. His master's endless praise, his father's beaming pride, his village's hope for honor and glory, all of it destroyed in 8 seconds. The physical bruises on his face, those would heal in days. The wound to his spirit, that was something else entirely. He replayed the moment endlessly, like a nightmare on repeat. The Ronin approaching with that calm, unbothered confidence. The crowd watching, waiting for his inevitable victory. The signal to begin. And then, nothing. Not fear exactly, not even conscious thought, just emptiness. A void where his training should have been. His body frozen like stone, his mind blank like fresh snow. And in that emptiness, he discovered something absolutely terrifying. He didn't know who he was anymore. The identity crisis. Think about this for a moment. For his entire life, Ryota had been the warrior, the disciplined one, the dedicated one, the one who would bring honor to his family name. Training at dawn before the roosters crowed, practicing forms until sunset painted the sky, meditating through the night while others slept. Never drinking, never indulging, never straying from the path. His identity was his discipline. His purpose was his practice. His self-worth was his skill. And in 8 seconds, all of it revealed itself as a lie. Or worse, as something so fragile that one moment of pressure could shatter it completely, like thin ice under a heavy boot. Week 1, the unraveling. He tried to return to training. His hands shook holding the sword. His master, Tiada-sensei, watched with growing concern. "Ryota, you're gripping too tightly." "I know," but he couldn't stop. Every movement felt wrong, mechanical, dead, like a puppet with tangled strings. "Perhaps you need rest." "I don't need rest, I need..." But he didn't know what he needed. How do you fix something when you don't understand what's broken? His fellow students trained around him. Some showed pity in their eyes. Others whispered when they thought he couldn't hear. The youngest students, the ones who had looked up to him just weeks ago with stars in their eyes, now avoided eye contact like he carried a plague. After an hour of this torture, Tiada approached quietly. "Go home, Ryota. Come back when you're ready." "I am ready." "No, you're here, but you're not present." The words hit harder than any sword strike ever had. That night he didn't meditate. For the first time in 8 years he skipped his evening practice. And you know what? It felt like relief. Like removing armor he'd been wearing so long he'd forgotten what his own skin felt like. Month 2, the descent. He stopped going to the dojo entirely. At first he told himself it was temporary. Just a few days to clear his mind, to reset, to find his center again. But days became weeks, and weeks became something darker. He began drinking, not heavily at first, just enough to quiet the voice in his head that screamed, failure, coward, fraud, every waking moment. His father confronted him one evening. You shame our family. I already did that at the tournament. What's a little more shame? You dishonor your training. The words erupted before Ryota could stop them. My training betrayed me. I trained my entire life, and when it mattered most, I froze like a child. My discipline meant nothing. My practice was worthless. I was living a lie. His father slapped him, hard. The silence that followed was deafening. Then rebuild. I can't. You mean you won't? I mean I don't know who I am anymore. The warrior I thought I was, he never existed. So who exactly am I supposed to rebuild? His father left without answering, because he didn't have an answer. Month 4, the darkness. Ryota descended fully into the abyss. His days were spent sleeping, his nights drinking, his family's money earned through generations of honorable service wasted on sake and gambling dens. The disciplined warrior who once woke before dawn now couldn't rise before noon. The one who ate simple, measured meals now gorged himself on excess. The one who lived by the sacred code of Bushido now spat on every principle he'd once held sacred. And the worst part? He felt nothing. No guilt, no shame, just emptiness like a well that had run completely dry. One night, drunk and stumbling through Osaka's darkened streets, he encountered a group of samurai from his old dojo. Ryota. One of them, Kenji, a former training partner, looked genuinely shocked. Is that you? Ryota was unshaven, unwashed, unrecognizable. A ghost of who he'd been. What happened to you? I found out who I really am, Ryota slurred. Not the warrior everyone thought, just nothing. Kenji's expression shifted from shock to something worse. Pity. That pity hurt worse than any insult could have. Come back to the dojo, Master Tida. Can't fix me, nobody can, because there's nothing left to fix. He stumbled away into the darkness, leaving Kenji watching in silence, probably wondering if he'd just seen a dead man walking. Month 6, rock bottom. A Buddhist monk found him collapsed in an alley, barely conscious, having not eaten in 3 days. The monk was old, with eyes that seemed to see through everything. He looked down at Ryota without judgment, without pity, just observation. You're dying. Good, Ryota whispered. Not of hunger, of absence. You've removed yourself from existence while still breathing. That's worse than death. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You lost a duel, and because you couldn't face that loss, you decided to lose everything else as well. Your health, your honor, your family, yourself. Because if everything is lost, then that one loss doesn't matter anymore, does it? The words should have angered Ryota. Instead, they pierced through his numbness like a blade through silk. Who are you? Someone who walked the same path you're walking. Except I reached the end. And what's at the end? Death or rebirth? Your choice, but you must choose soon. The path you're on only goes one direction. The monk stood to leave. If you want to find the other path, the one that leads back, come to Koyasan Temple. 3rd bell after dawn. Why would I come? Because despite everything, some part of you still wants to live. Not just breathe, live. That part will bring you. The monk left. Ryota lay in that alley 3 more hours, staring at the sky, feeling nothing. Then slowly, like the first crack of ice in spring, something stirred. Not hope, not determination, just curiosity. What if there is a way back? Chapter 2, The Principle of Rebirth, Koyasan Temple. 3 days later, Ryota arrived at the temple unwashed, hungover, half convinced this was pointless. The monk, who introduced himself simply as Bodhidharma, gestured to a mat. Sit. For an hour they sat in complete silence. Ryota's mind screamed, his body itched. Every moment felt unbearable, like ants crawling under his skin. Finally he broke. Why am I here? Because you've lost yourself, and you think that's the problem. It is the problem. No. Bodhidharma's voice was firm, uncompromising. The problem is you think there was ever a fixed self to lose. Ryota didn't understand. Tell me, who were you before the duel? A warrior, disciplined, skilled, honorable. And those things, were they you, or were they what you did? What's the difference? Everything. The teaching begins. Bodhidharma stood and walked to a small altar where incense burned. This is the principle of Shisei, death and rebirth. But to be truly reborn, you must first truly die. I've been dying for 6 months. No. You've been clinging to the corpse of who you used to be. That's not death, that's refusal to accept death. He lit fresh incense. The smoke curled upward, shapeless, free, becoming one with the air. The warrior you thought you were, the one built on 17 victories, on your family's expectations, on others' respect. That warrior never really existed. He was a construct, an identity built on external things, and external things are as permanent as morning mist. Then what am I supposed to be? Nothing. Everything. You don't need to be anything. You need to do. I don't understand. Musashi said, you can only fight the way you practice. Do you know what this really means? Ryota shook his head. It means identity doesn't exist in some fixed state, like a statue carved in stone. It exists in action. You are not a warrior who sometimes trains. You are your training. You are your practice. Every moment, every choice, every breath. But I already tried that and it failed. No. Bodhidharma's voice cut through the air. You built an identity on outcomes, on winning, on others' opinions, on maintaining an image. That's not practice. That's performance. And performance crumbles under pressure like sand castles before the tide. The universal truth. Bodhidharma's voice took on a quality that made Ryota feel he was speaking beyond just this moment, across time itself. Throughout history, warriors have faced this truth. The self you think you are is illusion. Building identity on external success creates inevitable destruction. And in times you cannot yet imagine, others will face your same crisis. Young men who built everything on achievement, on others' approval, on maintaining a perfect image, then lost it all in one moment of failure, lost their presence, lost their purpose, lost themselves. The warrior path isn't about never losing yourself. It's about finding the way back when you do. Ryota felt something shift inside him. Not understanding yet, but recognition, like seeing the outline of a path through thick fog. So how do I rebuild? You don't rebuild who you were, you build from nothing. True Shisei, complete rebirth. That sounds impossible. Good, then you're beginning to understand. Bodhidharma smiled for the first time. Tomorrow we start. Chapter 3, starting from 0. Day 1. Today you will practice your first sword form. I've practiced forms 10,000 times. No. Today you practice for the first time. Everything before, forget it, it's dead. You're starting as if you've never held a sword in your life. This felt insulting, degrading. But Ryota had nothing left to lose. Bodhidharma handed him a wooden practice sword. The moment Ryota's hand wrapped around the familiar grip, his hand trembled violently. Memories flooded back: the tournament, the freeze, the humiliation, the laughter. He dropped the sword. Good, Bodhidharma said calmly. What? What you're feeling right now, that's progress. For 6 months you felt nothing. Now you feel fear. That's better than emptiness. That's life returning. I can't do this. Correct. The old Ryota can't. He's dead, remember? But the Ryota being born right now, in this very moment, he has no past failures. He hasn't frozen in combat. He hasn't been humiliated. He's picking up a sword for the very first time. That's not true. Make it true. That's what practice is. Not maintaining who you were, becoming who you choose to be in each moment. The practice of presence. Ryota picked up the sword again. His hand still trembled. First form. Overhead strike, but not from memory, not from technique, from presence. Feel the weight of the wood. Feel your breath. Feel your feet on the ground. Move when movement comes naturally. Ryota raised the sword. His muscle memory tried to activate the perfect form he'd practiced thousands of times.
Stop!
He froze. You're performing, trying to do it right. There is no right, there's only now. Move. This was harder than any training Ryota had ever done. Every impulse screamed to execute the perfect form, to show his skill, to prove he wasn't broken. But Bodhidharma kept stopping him again and again and again. This time no thought, just breath and movement. 50 repetitions. Each one worse than the last by technical standards, each one more present, more real, more alive. By the end, Ryota was exhausted, not physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How was that? Terrible. My form was awful. Your form was alive. For the first time in years, you weren't performing, you were present. That's the foundation. Everything else builds from there. Week 2, the resistance. Every day, the same practice. Basic forms, no advancement, no progression. No recognition of his previous skill. Just presence. Ryota's ego screamed, I'm better than this. I don't need beginner's practice. That voice, Bodhidharma observed calmly, is the old identity trying to resurrect itself. Let it scream, don't listen, don't argue. Just return to breath. Return to movement. Return to now. The old patterns fought hard. Pride, shame, constant comparison to who he used to be. But slowly, through sheer repetition, something else emerged. Not the disciplined warrior performing perfectly. Just Ryota, present, imperfect, real. Week 4, the shift. During morning practice, something changed. Ryota raised the sword, and for the first time since the tournament, he felt no tremor, no fear, no performance anxiety, no desperate need to be anything other than what he was. Just movement, just breath, just presence. His form wasn't perfect, but it was his, authentic, present, alive. Bodhidharma noticed, said nothing, simply nodded. That evening, you're ready for the next stage. What's the next stage? Learning who you actually are. Not who you were, not who you want to be. Who you are when you're not trying to be anything at all. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Transformation. Month 2. Understanding the Pattern. Bodhidharma gathered Ryota and several other students, all men who had similarly lost themselves. Today I explain why you fell and why you can rise. Ryota built his identity on outcomes, victories, others' approval, external validation. This is what future understanding will call conditional self-worth. When your self-worth depends on conditions outside your control, victories, respect, success, you become a slave to those conditions. And when they disappear, you collapse completely. Musashi understood this deeply. You can only fight the way you practice, not the way you wish, not the way you imagine, but the way you actually move through life daily. Ryota practiced being the winner. He practiced maintaining an image. So when circumstances required adaptation, when pressure revealed the gap between image and reality, he had no practice in that. His system crashed. His identity shattered. The neuroscience of breakdown. Modern science will eventually discover what warriors have always known. Your mind creates pathways based on repeated actions. Every thought, every behavior, every response practiced enough times, it becomes automatic. It becomes you. Ryota practiced 17 victories, so his mind wired itself for winning. When losing occurred, his mind had no pathways for that experience. System crashed, identity shattered. Makes sense, doesn't it? But here's what else they'll discover. Neuroplasticity. Your mind can rewire itself, always, at any age, through any trauma. The Ryota who existed before the tournament, those neural pathways are weakening daily through disuse. The new Ryota forming through present practice, new pathways strengthening daily. You're not rebuilding the old self. That's physically impossible. You're building entirely new patterns. That's Shisei at the biological level, actual rebirth. The Stoic understanding. The ancient Stoics philosophers from Rome taught similar truth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Ryota gave his power to outside events. One duel's outcome determined his entire identity. That's not strength, that's slavery to circumstance. True warrior power comes from one thing: what you practice daily when nobody's watching. Not your victories, not your reputation, your actual daily practice. That's who you are. Musashi's complete teaching. Musashi's full wisdom. You can only fight the way you practice. But he also wrote, do not let your mind stop with the striking of your opponent's sword. Meaning, don't attach identity to single moments. Don't let one victory define you. Don't let one defeat destroy you. Flow like water through all circumstances. The warrior who needs to win is weak. The warrior who can lose and continue unstoppable. Ryota absorbed this, finally understanding the depth of what he'd been learning. This wasn't just about sword fighting. This was about life itself. Chapter 5. The first test. Month 4, the challenge. A traveler arrived at the temple, a samurai, seeking challenges to sharpen his skill. Bodhidharma approached Ryota. He's issued a challenge. I'm offering you the opportunity to accept. Every fiber of Ryota's being screamed no. Memories of the tournament flooded back like a tsunami. I can't. Correct. The old Ryota can't, but the Ryota who has practiced presence for 4 months, what does he choose? I'm not ready. Ready for what? To win, to impress, to prove something. Those are old patterns. I'm asking, are you present enough to step into the arena and simply be there? Outcome irrelevant. Something in the question shifted Ryota's entire perspective. Not can I win, but can I be present regardless of outcome? I'll do it. The duel. The temple courtyard. 20 monks watching silently. The challenger, a skilled ronin, older, experienced, dangerous. Ryota stepped forward, bowed, drew his sword, and waited. The ronin attacked, fast, aggressive, testing his opponent. Old Ryota would have frozen, or rushed to prove himself. New Ryota simply responded. Not from memory, not from fear, from presence. The duel lasted 3 minutes. No decisive victor. Both landed strikes, both showed genuine skill, both were completely present. When they separated, breathing hard, Ryota realized something profound. He'd been present the entire time. He hadn't frozen, hadn't performed, just been completely there. Win or lose had become irrelevant. The victory was being fully present in the moment. The ronin bowed deeply. You're the most present opponent I've ever faced. Higher praise than any victory trophy. The realization. Bodhidharma approached after. How do you feel? I don't know, not proud, not ashamed, just here. Good. That's mastery. Not achieving something, being present, being real, being alive. Now you're ready for the deeper work. But one moment of presence wasn't mastery. What came next would test whether Ryota had truly transformed, or if he'd simply found another identity to perform. Chapter 6, The Long Road. Month 6, the daily practice. Bodhidharma introduced advanced training. Not in technique, but in presence. The daily schedule was non-negotiable. 4 a.m., wake without negotiation. 4:15 a.m., zazen meditation. 90 minutes, 6 a.m., sword forms, 2 hours. 8 a.m., temple duties, cleaning, cooking, 12 p.m., study philosophy and strategy. 2 p.m., physical conditioning. 4 p.m., free practice. 6 p.m., evening meditation. 8 p.m., reflection, then sleep. Every single day. No exceptions, no negotiations, no reliance on motivation, only commitment. This is how you rebuild identity, Bodhidharma taught. Not through dramatic change, through consistent present action. The shadow work. But discipline alone wasn't enough. You must face what you're hiding from, Bodhidharma said during evening teaching. I'm not hiding from anything. You're hiding from shame, from the tournament. You've trained presence, but you haven't faced the wound that caused your collapse. He made Ryota describe the tournament in detail. Every moment, every sensation, every emotion. At first, Ryota resisted. Then the words came, halting, painful, real. The freeze, the laughter, the disgrace. The absolute shattering of everything he thought he was. Tears came, not of weakness, of release. Good, Bodhidharma said gently. The wound isn't weakness. The refusal to acknowledge it creates weakness. Now it's out. Now it can heal. The meditation insight. During deep meditation in month 8, Ryota experienced something profound. His mind quieted completely. In that silence, awareness arose like the sun breaking through clouds. This journey, this path from loss to rebuilding, warriors across all time have walked this. The descent into darkness, the struggle back to light, the discovery that the self you lost was never real to begin with. This is the universal human experience, disguised as a warrior's tale. Year 2, the identity that can't break. By year 2, Ryota's transformation was complete, but different than anyone expected. He wasn't the warrior he was before the tournament. He was more real, less polished, more present, less perfect. His technique had improved, yes, but that wasn't the point. His presence had deepened. That was everything. Other students watched his practice with fascination, no longer impressed by perfection, but by authenticity. One asked, "How did you do it? How did you come back?" "I didn't come back. That person is dead. I built forward." Chapter 7, Facing the Past. Year 3, Return to Osaka. "You're ready," Bodhidharma announced. "For what?" "To face what you fled from. The tournament, the arena, the moment that broke you." Fear rose immediately, sharp and cold. "I don't need to." "Yes, you do. Not to prove anything, to complete the circle. To face the place of your death and show yourself you've been reborn." They traveled to Osaka, the castle where the annual tournament was held. Same arena, same crowd 3 years later. But this time Ryota wasn't competing, just watching, observing, present. Then a voice from the crowd. "Ryota, is that you?" His former master, Tiada-sensei. The recognition was complex shock, concern, curiosity. "Master," Ryota bowed. "You disappeared. We thought many things. I lost myself, spent 3 years finding a way forward." "And did you?" "I found a way forward, not back." Tita studied him carefully. "You're different." "I'm present. I wasn't before." "Will you compete?" The final duel. To every instinct screamed no. The old fear rose like bile. What if I freeze again? What if I humiliate myself again? But then outcome is irrelevant. Presence is everything. Yes, Ryota's opponent. Ironically, the same Ronin who had defeated him 3 years ago. The crowd murmured. The rematch everyone had whispered about. They bowed, drew swords, began. And Ryota was there, completely. Not performing, not proving, just present. The Ronin attacked. Ryota flowed. No freeze, no fear, just response. Pure, present response. The duel was beautiful. Not because of technical perfection, because of complete presence from both fighters, 2 warriors, fully alive in the moment. When they finished, mutual respect hung in the air. No clear victor, just 2 masters honoring each other. The crowd erupted, but Ryota barely heard them. Because the victory wasn't the duel. It was being fully present in the moment that once destroyed him. Afterward, the Ronin approached. 3 years ago you froze, today you flowed like water. What changed? I stopped being the warrior who never loses. I became the warrior who shows up. Win or lose, I'm here. That's mastery. Final wisdom, the warrior truth. Present day. Ryota, now 28, sat with Bodhidharma on the temple steps, watching the sunset paint the sky. I understand now what Musashi meant. Tell me. You can only fight the way you practice. Doesn't mean perfect your technique. It means how you live is how you perform under pressure. For 3 years before my fall, I practiced being the perfect warrior. So when perfection was required and I couldn't deliver, I shattered like glass. Then I practiced presence daily, imperfectly, authentically. So when pressure came again, I'd practice being present under pressure. No freeze, just flow. Exactly, Bodhidharma smiled. Your daily practice is your identity. Not your achievements, not your reputation. What you actually do moment to moment alone when nobody's watching. That's who you are. The deepest truth. Most warriors fear losing a duel, Bodhidharma continued. But the real loss is losing yourself, and that doesn't happen in dramatic moments. It happens in small choices, daily. When you skip practice, when you perform instead of being present, when you attach your worth to outcomes, Each small choice weakens the foundation. Then pressure comes, a duel, a crisis, a moment of truth, and the weak foundation collapses. The way back isn't dramatic either. It's small, consistent, present actions, daily, weekly, monthly, building new foundation from nothing. You lost yourself, Ryota, but that loss became your greatest teacher, because now you know identity built on achievement is fragile. Identity built on daily practice is unbreakable. Teaching the lost. 6 months later, a young samurai named Hiro arrived at the temple. 20 years old, defeated, disgraced, lost. Ryota recognized him immediately, saw himself 3 years ago. "Can you help me?" Hiro's voice was desperate. "I can teach you what I learned, but you must do the work." "I'll do anything." "Good, because the path back requires everything." Ryota led him to the practice grounds. "Today, your first lesson. Musashi said you can only fight the way you practice. Do you understand this?" "I think so." "No, you don't. Not yet. But you will, because I'll teach you what my teacher taught me. This wisdom isn't about sword fighting. It's about life itself. Everything you do daily, every choice, every action, every moment, that's your practice, and when pressure comes, you'll respond exactly how you've practiced. So if you practice being present, you'll be present under pressure. If you practice performing, you'll shatter when the performance fails." He handed Hiro a practice sword. This is where it begins. Not with motivation, with method, not with perfection, with presence, not trying to impress, just showing up. Closing. Hiro bowed deeply. "Where do I start?" "First sword form, but not from memory, from presence. And we'll practice every day until presence becomes who you are, not what you do." Ryota demonstrated. Hiro followed, imperfectly, authentically present. And the circle continued. Student became teacher. Lost became found. Death became rebirth. You can only fight the way you practice. So practice being present. Practice being real. Practice showing up. That's the way back. That's the warrior path. And that's how you master yourself, so you can master life itself. If this resonated with you, if you've ever lost yourself and needed to find the way back, leave a comment. Share your story. Because the warrior path is walked by everyone who's ever faced themselves in the mirror and didn't recognize who was looking back. That's the real battle. And presence is the only weapon that works.